Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mr. Hicks Podcast. We are here getting it in once again, time and time again, going hard on the NFL this evening. Couple things I want to get in right out of the way. Let's talk fantasy football for a minute. Now, I'm not as huge a fantasy football guy as I used to be. Had my ups, had my downs. Some people just don't really cooperate and do the things that they were supposed to do when you drafted them. But I don't really want to blame this young man for the season that he's had. I don't really think it was a problem. So I was blessed this year with having the number one pick in the draft. So as you do, when you have a stud running back who really proved his worth the year before, he was the number one player in all of fantasy, in my infinite wisdom, take Jonathan Taylor. And Jonathan Taylor then proceeded to have a completely disastrous season because both his receivers got hurt. Their quarterback is an aged like milk Matt Ryan. And the rest of the league said, well, Roger and Stanley on the outside here, the guys that got left, those guys can't beat us. So let's just go man up on the outside and go all in on stopping Jonathan Taylor, who has proceeded to give me like 3 and 5 and 4 points. And then for just the ultimate just indignity, I texted my son. I said, son, Jonathan Taylor's killing me. He's only got like 5 points. Then he gets hurt in the fourth quarter. I'm like, oh, that's even better. Then I look down and I see that Jonathan Taylor now has given me 3 points. So not only did he not get no yardage, not score no touchdowns, he fumbled. So he gave me less than 5 points. The number one player in fantasy, the overwhelmingly number one selection in most fantasy leagues, over 95% of leagues, he was taking the first play overall. And yeah. So for those of you who, had the joy of taking Jonathan Taylor for your first pick, I feel for you. I really do. Moving right along. My Philadelphia Eagles are the only undefeated team left in the NFL. We are 4-0. You all can suck it. I just want to say suck it, everybody else. So I do want to say one thing about this. I want to talk about something that I said in the preseason about second-round quarterbacks and Jalen Hurts. I'm not backtracking off of that at all. I still believe that. I do think some of them work out. You've got your guys like Russell Wilson and the ilk of guys that are great leaders and great hard workers, and they do work out. It's not impossible. I just don't think that it's a great risk versus reward proposition. However, I am really glad to be wrong about what I said about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is leading. I think it was actually not leading the country he's fifth. He's fifth in the league in passing yards. It's 4 rushing and 4 passing touchdowns. He's rushed for 205 yards, completing 67% of his passes and has 9.1 yards per attempt. That is one of the highest in the league. So for somebody who's not supposed to be able to throw the ball, he's been very accurate. He has pushed the ball downfield. He's done it with his legs. He's done it with his arms. And I just want to say, very proud of what that young man has done. I've always thought he was a good dude and a great leader and a hard worker. It doesn't always translate to a great NFL quarterback. I'm glad that it has worked out for him. A.J. Brown is also the number 11 wide receiver in the league, and I think Devontae Smith is in the top 25, basically off the strength of just one monstrous game and one average game, but it all averages out. So really glad for my Eagles. Just wanted to get that out the way. So the way that I want to do NFL shows is everybody kind of does the same stuff. So I like to just kind of go off on my own thing and talk about stuff that I like to talk about. Because, when you get your own show, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. You've got a phone, you can do that too. So I want to pose this question real quick. Why is Kirk Cousins so mid? Why is he just the bologna sandwich of quarterbacks? He will get you through lunch. He's like the bologna sandwich, and then just the Lay's chips. You know, the Lay's chips in the yellow bag that nobody really wants. Like you got the variety pack, and everybody got all the good stuff, the Doritos and the Cheetos and the sour cream chips, and all that's left is the Lay's. You'll eat the Lay's because you're hungry, but nobody's really excited about the Lay's. That's what Kirk Cousins is. Kirk Cousins is a bologna and cheese sandwich and a bag of just regular and degular Lay's potato chips. He had Stephon Diggs. After Stephon Diggs left, they drafted Justin Jefferson because my Philadelphia Eagles were really stupid that year. Then he's had Adam Thielen, had Dalvin Cook. So he's been surrounded by great talent, and he's just so bleh. It's just, I heard him try to give like a hype speech before, like, come on guys, let's go ahead and get it together, and it was like 1, 2, 3, yeah, buddy, whatever. Like, it was just the least amount of energy I have ever seen of a breakdown before a game, completely uninspired. Matter of fact, my son and I don't know if we came up with this, but we have something we call the Kirk Cousins line, and we kind of came up with this during like the draft, and we said, like, if your quarterback is worse than Kirk Cousins, then you need to draft the quarterback. Like, this is the bottom. This is the guy that can get you to the playoffs and maybe win you a playoff game. If you don't have somebody of that caliber, then you need to draft the quarterback. That line is now and forever should be known as the Kirk Cousins line. Nobody more mid. As a matter of fact, right now, at this time in history, is just a perfect example of how mid Kirk Cousins really is. A graphic was released by PFF that actually said that right now Kirk Cousins is 60, 60, and 2. That is his record as a starter, 60, 60, and 2. First of all, who has 2 ties? Most people never see 1 tie in their entire life. Who's got 2? Like, Kirk, just pick a thing. Get a little better or just suck. Like, it's the worst thing about having a Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins is just good enough to get you to the playoffs, get you a wild card, maybe win a game, and then never really develop into a great quarterback. He's a great guy. He's probably going to be a great coach one day. He's that kind of dude that, you can imagine with a clipboard and like getting really fired up about that and being really successful and being like the Bill Belichick at the microphone and just giving the cookie cutter answer that you have to say when you're the coach and not give any information to the opposition. Sounds like something that Kirk Cousins would be really good at because I know there's a soul in there somewhere and when the man loves football, but God Almighty, you're like mayonnaise spread over top of a football. It's just wow. All right, so. Big surprise about the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions showing an actual pulse. I really liked some of the moves they made. I'm a big fan of Amon-Ra St. Brown. Been following that young man since he was in high school. And about to say, like, when your dad names you after the sun god, you better be nice. So like that's who Amon-Ra is. He is the Egyptian god of the sun. If you don't know who Amon is. I don't expect many people to know much about Egyptian religion, but, my fraternity, we're kind of big on that. So, after him, like Jared Goff right now is third in the nation in yards. He's got 11 touchdowns to only 3 picks, so good for him on that. TJ Hawkinson, who absolutely saved me in fantasy last week because I had Jonathan Taylor give me 3 points. TJ Hawkinson comes through with the bag, gives me 40 points from the tight end position. Suck it. I am 3-1 in my league, and due to no help from Jonathan Taylor, but a lot from T.J. Hawkinson. He has been more than solid. These are the points that you really wasn't expecting to get from a tight end. Been a really good asset to me. So really glad to see them great. Their defense is absolutely atrocious, but good for the Lions for actually coming through and being somebody. And the last thing I wanted to say, I don't know if Geno Smith knows this. And Geno, if you don't know that, Geno Smith is the quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. Geno, you're supposed to suck. I don't know if anybody told you. You're not supposed to be winning games right now. Don't you know that Seattle is tanking? They were very obviously tanking when you got there. Like, you know that they weren't trying to win no game, but then you went ahead and won that job. The team is 2-2. You're actually playing pretty darn well. Over 1,000 yards, throwing for 6 touchdowns. He's completing 77% of his passes. 77%. That is wild for somebody coming off the bench on an offense that everybody said was like no good, with not many weapons, with Rashard Penny with his some timing behind maybe showing up, with DJ Metcalf. I'm glad DK Metcalf got paid when he did, because there was no chance of him putting up big numbers with the quarterback that they were going to have. And come to find out that Gino's like, yeah, man, DK's down there somewhere, and he's going to get it down there to him, and like, good for him. But it's like I always think it's fascinating when a team is very obviously tanking, and in football, you can't just tank at football. Football players want to play. Football players got pride. They ain't going to let you just decide that we ain't going to win no games. So they're going to go out there and they're going to try to lay it into somebody, because that's their pride, and that's one of the things I really love about football. So, more storylines to come about the NFL. I always dig for something interesting. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care. I'm out.